Hello again, my subscribers. Today we are doing a review. Today's review is the 2022 film The Batman. The cast is Robert Pattinson, Zoe Kravitz, Paul Dano, Jeffrey Wright, John Turturro, Peter Sarsgaard, Andy Serkis, and Colin Farrell. The director is Matt Reeves. The synopsis is this. Robert Pattinson stars as the Dark Knight detective and his billionaire alter ego Bruce Wayne. Starting 1 year after he begins his tenure as the Caped Crusader, Batman investigates a series of murders, each one involving members of the elite and a riddle. Along the way, he learns that the web the Riddler weaves grows wider and ultimately uncovers some unpleasant truths about Gotham's finest and himself. Once again, we are treated to yet another iteration of the famous DC superhero, Batman. A lot was already riding on this movie, starting with the departure of Ben Affleck as star and director, and the introduction of Robert Pattinson as the title character and Matt Reeves as the director. The decision split fans down the middle. Some were interested to see where Matt Reeves, best known for Cloverfield, Let Me In, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and War for the Planet of the Apes, and Robert Pattinson, best known for Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, The Twilight Saga, The Lighthouse, The Rover, and Good Time, would take this series, while others were not so enthused. They couldn't accept Pattinson as the Dark Knight, still favoring past iterations over this new one. Keep in mind, however, that this is not new. There have always been naysayers whenever a new Batman is cast. Michael Keaton was criticized. One fan wrote, "If you saw him in an alley wearing a bat suit, you would laugh, not run in fear. Batman should be 6'2", 235 pounds. Your classically handsome guy with an imposing, scary image." Here's a reaction to Christian Bale. Christian Bale as the Bats? No way. Gosh, is there no one that can fit the part like Michael Keaton did? I can think of no one right now. I remember #Batfleck and the petition to remove Ben Affleck as Batman in the 2016 film Batman v Superman. Are you starting to see a pattern here? Now fans act like either Michael Keaton, Christian Bale, or Ben Affleck are godsends, and that everyone else is a fraud. The point is that fans will never be happy when a new Batman is cast. Soon, Robert Pattinson will be viewed as the de facto Batman. Just wait and see. But enough of that. Onto the movie and its own merits. Matt Reeves injects this film with a new feeling different from past iterations that keeps things fresh and exciting, while at the same time pulling inspiration from stories from the past. Before the movie came out, Reeves told everyone that this film would play out more like a horror movie, and that Batman would be portrayed as a detective, and the villains inspired more by real-life serial killers than anything in the comics. Past films have touched on his detective side, like the Burton Schumacher movies and even the Nolan films. But Reeves's movie focuses solely on that part of his personality, therefore making this movie more of a horror noir. Does this approach work? Boy, does it ever. Reeves' use of color, shot composition, and widescreen filmmaking keep you glued to the screen at all times. You're constantly looking at every part of the shot, wondering what's going on. Who's going to show up? What is Matt Reeves showing us? The Riddler, multiple times throughout the movie, hides in plain sight. Yes, plenty of action keeps those audience members wanting to see Batman fight, and some fight scenes echo those from the Arkham video games, like in the Iceberg Lounge. Reeves utilizes voiceover narration like Frank Miller used narration in the captions for The Dark Knight Returns. If Reeves wasn't a Batman fan at first, he's done his homework, because this movie showcases the best techniques from every iteration of Batman to date. The film also wears its politics on its sleeve, showing echoes of the current situations we are dealing with right now: corrupt politicians and police officers, the middle to lower class citizens being so fed up with the way society tosses them aside in favor of the ones from the upper class, and the fact that idealistic politicians want to step up and guide their cities to a more hopeful future. All films by nature are political. It's just a matter of which way the scale tips. But this movie is subtle with its politics and doesn't beat you over the head with its message. If anything, it serves to guide Bruce's change of character. Robert Pattinson is stellar as Batman and Bruce Wayne. As a second-year Batman, he perfectly captures the grim personality and the broodiness that Bruce Wayne would have because he's still figuring out what he stands for. "I'm vengeance," he tells a thug. The wrong approach to his mission as Batman, but I won't delve into spoiler territory here. One criticism levied against this movie was Batman's outfit. I'll admit I was skeptical at first, but it grew on me as time went on. Some parts were still goofy, like his flight suit, but it never took me out of the film. It was always done with the idea that he would soon get something better, and I think he will. After all, Christian Bale's Batman didn't have a perfect suit in Batman Begins, and neither did Michael Keaton in the first Batman and Batman Returns. We all remember the famous Batman head turn, where he uses his whole body.
Hold it right there! How much do you weigh?
Zoe Kravitz, best known for X-Men First Class, Dope, the Divergent series, Mad Max Fury Road, the Fantastic Beasts movies, and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, is excellent as Selina Kyle / Catwoman, appropriately sly, and still has a softer side where she does care about those she loves. Her costume too had some complaints, and I can see where they're coming from. The bodysuit was fine, and the long nails were a nice touch, but the mask was lame. On the other hand, it illustrates her financial situation, where she could afford some of her getup, but not all of it. I'm not going to worry about it too much because I don't think this is the last time we've seen Selina Kyle. Andy Serkis, best known for the Lord of the Rings trilogy, the Hobbit trilogy, and the Planet of the Apes reboot series, is excellent as Alfred Pennyworth. It's hinted that Alfred has a history of hand-to-hand combat, which harkens to his past as an MI6 agent. He even looks like he could go fisticuffs with somebody else. There's also some sorrow in him that Bruce didn't have the childhood he deserved due to what happened to his parents, and worry that Bruce will fall into darkness and never come back out. In the animated film, Batman Mask of the Phantasm, Alfred tells Bruce that he constantly worries that he is going to fall into that pit of vengeance, and is thankful that he hasn't. And Serkis shows us that gratefulness here, without saying a single word. That's good filmmaking and acting, when you can convey information without saying a single word of dialogue to spell things out for us. Jeffrey Wright, the Manchurian Candidate, Syriana, Lady in the Water, and the Hunger Games movies, plays Commissioner James Gordon seriously enough, but not so seriously that it turns us off him. He still has that wit to him and plays a more active role in trying to solve the riddles. When it starts to get personal with his colleagues exposed as corrupt, we see his frustration with the whole situation. Whom does he trust? The police? The DA? Or does he put all of his trust in Batman, who is operating outside the law? He doesn't know yet. Colin Farrell, best known for In Bruges, Seven Psychopaths, The Lobster, and the Killing of a Sacred Deer, is practically unrecognizable as the Penguin. The makeup on him is phenomenal. It's not so distracting that we're constantly looking at it. It gives him enough leeway to emote when he needs to, and his voice change is also excellent. The giveaway, however, is his eyes. Farrell has always been able to convey so much in his eyes. John Turturro, best known for Miller's Crossing, Barton Fink, The Big Lebowski, and O Brother Where Art Thou, is appropriately scary as Carmine Falcone. His role in this story and how he connects to certain characters is one you won't see coming. Paul Dano, best known for Little Miss Sunshine, There Will Be Blood, 12 Years a Slave, and Swiss Army Man, is terrifying as the Riddler. Most fans criticized the Riddler's appearance in this movie, but it made sense to me why they modeled him after the Zodiac. Like the Zodiac, the Riddler always left riddles for Batman to solve, and in the real world, what would the Riddler be if not the Zodiac? And he's not the only serial killer who left messages for the police. Dennis Rader, famously called BTK, wrote letters to the police, as did David Berkowitz, aka Son of Sam. And the infamous Gray Man, Albert Fish, went a step further and wrote letters to the families of his victims. There are plenty of influences from real-life serial killers in this movie, and unless you are well educated about those serial killers, you'll miss them. On the other hand, you won't be distracted by the fact that Matt Reeves and screenwriter Peter Craig drew influence from real-life murderers, because they still show it in a way that isn't distracting. Another criticism was its length. And while I understand why some people would never want to watch a movie that's almost 3 hours long, this movie utilizes its time perfectly. You never once feel the length. You're sucked into the story because of Matt Reeves' tight direction, stellar script, and the actors. Overall, The Batman feels like a breath of fresh air. If you're a fan of horror movies or superhero films or want to see Batman again, please check this one out. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe today because I upload every Saturday, or at least try to. Hit the notification bell to get notified when a new video is uploaded. Like the Facebook page, the Instagram page, the Tumblr page, and the TikTok page. I will upload there as much as I can to notify you guys of new videos. Thank you again so much for watching. Please stay safe and healthy. And remember, it's chaos. Be kind.